Hi, I'm James Hawkins, and this is why we should keep the Electoral College. So, the Electoral College is the American presidential election system in which has a number of representatives or electoral votes, depending on the population of the state. These points are added up, and whoever gets to 270 or more wins the election. You'll probably be wondering why we need a discussion about this particular topic. And well, there's been a lot of talk lately about replacing the Electoral College with something, more like other European countries. So that's why I think we need to have a conversation to understand what the Electoral College actually is. Alright, so after doing some research, I discovered that I think we should keep the Electoral College for some specific reasons. First of which is a diverse vote. An article by procon.com makes a great point about why the Electoral College ensures a diverse vote. In the article, it explains how if the US had a popular voting system, minorities would not have as much of a voice due to their lower populations throughout the country. Presidential candidates would usually neglect these minority votes because they have less weight compared to other groups. And the Electoral College would ensure that everyone, no matter if you're in a big or small state, will get the same voice. A two-party system. An article by vinia.org makes the observation that the Electoral College is structured to only allow two political party systems. Two political party systems makes more sense because you don't have, like in other countries like England, you wouldn't have like 5 or 6 different political parties. You have more diverse parties in two instead of just a bunch of different ones with their own agendas. It also encourages political stability because either way you're going to have a pretty good idea of how the country will be run versus like a radical group coming up and getting support. And the third reason is restrains majority rule. An observation by Greenhouse Press makes a great argument about how the Electoral College restrains majority rule. At first sight, majority rule doesn't seem like a bad thing until you realize that the majority of people in the US live in cities, and most of the time people in smaller states will get ignored by their needs will get ignored because their votes don't weigh as much. If that was a popular system, then that would happen a lot more. When these people vote, they tend to completely neglect the needs of those living in rural areas, those in suburbs and cities. Usually the priorities are about them, which makes sense. But the minorities as in minority states, would not have as much of a voice. And so the Electoral College restrains that majority rule. And a counter argument most people that aren't in support of the Electoral College will bring up is that it doesn't fully represent the will of the people. Now, this argument is a pretty strong one, considering that if the majority of people vote for someone, but that's not all the Electoral College points, then it doesn't really represent the will of the people. But our counter argument to this is that when you look at that, around 250 million people in the US live in cities or suburban areas, and only around 60 million live in rural regions. And rural regions make up about 95% of the landmass in America. So the counter argument would be that it doesn't really represent the will of the people because the people are so spread out. If only the needs of those in the cities were met, then the needs of those rural areas would be forgotten. That's why we should keep the Electoral College. Thank you.